There's an easygoing warmth to Brooke Halliday, jovial, soft-spoken, and modest about her achievements, guided by her principle of staying true to herself no matter the circumstance. From playing cricket in the weekends with her family in Auckland to representing New Zealand on the world stage, the 29-year-old has become a steady hand in a team that is navigating transition. It's been over 4 years since she made her international debut, and the all-rounder has become one of the most dependable White Ferns middle-order batters, a handy wicket taker, and an emerging leader. In this conversation with Sportstar, she talks about her cricketing roots, lessons from the stalwarts of the women's game, how she balances her roles, and more.
My dad and my uncles played cricket every Saturday down at a ground in Auckland, Manukau City Cricket Club, and I guess a little backstory there is that my grandfather and my great uncle also played for the club as well, so a little bit of family history, I suppose. And from there, me and my brother Jared, who's 15 months younger than me, basically ended up playing junior cricket at that club as well, with dad coaching. And then from there, I've got a couple of other brothers who also played. So yeah, Manukau City Cricket Club is where it all started, and yeah, a little bit of family ties, I suppose. And my uncle still is now the president of the club and just built an indoor centre, which I think is actually the first indoor centre in the county's regions, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so a little bit of family ties there, and that's the way I kind of got into cricket. It has its moments, but yes, enjoyed it from the start. But I think, yeah, when you're forced to through your brothers and your dad and your uncle, not forced to, but when you see your dad and your uncles enjoying it and your brother, you kind of yeah, you just naturally end up doing the same kind of thing. I don't know if you're going to like this answer, but I actually didn't realise I bowled in the game until I had a dinner with a couple of the coaches and a couple of the players, and we chat GPT'd how did the White Ferns win the T20 final, and it mentioned me bowling. And I was like, I actually have no recollection of me bowling. So from an emotional point of view or emotion, it's actually all a blur, the game. I do know that I batted for a while with melee and whatnot, and I guess the biggest part in my role batting five is potentially at times either continuing with the momentum that the top order has built or changing that momentum in a way that puts us in favour. And I guess I was just fortunate that day that the shots that I kind of go to, whether that's the reverse or going deep in my crease and sweeping it, paid off, and I was able to change the momentum but also put us in a position to have a competitive total. And yeah, I've got no idea about the bowling because I literally physically or mentally can't actually tell you who I even got out because I don't remember it. I guess the biggest thing with number five is that you actually never know what position you're going to go in it. You know, we could be ahead of the game, or we could also be behind the game, or we could be in a position where it's quite neutral. You know, neither team's really in front. And I suppose with that, it means that from my end, I probably have to go in with quite an open mind at times. And the thing I kind of keep true to myself is keeping things simple. And I literally just go out there and focus on watching the ball. And the day last year in India where I got that 80 odd was exactly that. We're in a tough position. I just try and simplify it as best as possible, watch the ball and get myself into a position where I can put our team hopefully in a winning position. And yeah, same a couple of days ago, what did I need to do in this situation? And that was basically play a very boring brand of cricket and get the ones and the dots and just build a partnership with Sophie. So from my end, is probably the most consistent thing is just trying to figure out how can I keep this as simple as possible and then just backing my strengths from there. Yeah, I guess I've probably over the last 12 to 18 months, my role has probably changed in the sense that I am probably looked at as more of a leader in the group, which I suppose at times doesn't really come through natural with me because I'm not the most outspoken person, and the way that I probably lead others is not through words. It's probably more actions. And I guess one thing that I have been able to do recently from a batting point of view is support the ones probably coming through, the likes of Izzy Gaze, Georgia Plummer, a couple of players that I have been able to spend a bit of time batting with out in the middle, but also off the field, and just communicating with them about how I roll and how I do things, and from there they might be able to help or implement something like that into their own game. And just at lunch today, me and Georgia were talking about how in the last game how I kind of did things, and she was just asking questions that she might be able to implement in the next game for her. And I guess that people, the likes of Sophie are probably going to be departing shortly, and from there my role probably will change in that we are losing a lot of experience. And I suppose for me, again, what we just talked about was probably keeping everything simple, and personally I don't really want to change as a human being, but it's just like, how can I be me but also in a way to help and lead others in the team. And this role has changed a little bit over the last 12 to 18 months, and I guess it's just being true to myself, but also keeping in mind what others might need at times. Oh, good question. I guess the biggest thing I probably learned from Suzie and Sophie the most would probably just be that the trusting of their own ability. And I think just a prime example, which is probably not the nicest for me to bring up, but Suzie started this tournament with 2 ducks, and a lot of people would probably go and kind of cave, and Suzie's being Suzie and staying true to herself. And I think for me, being able to see someone of that calibre be able to take the criticism on board and be in a sticky situation but go out there with a smile on her face, and she's still contributing to the team in other ways, and you're not defined just by what you are doing with the bat. And that's probably been the coolest thing, is just seeing how they actually prepare, and that hasn't changed for Suzie at all despite runs. And for me personally, it's probably the biggest thing I've probably learned from the international stage is, 1, how to prepare and how to be an international cricketer, but 2, staying true to that and not riding the highs and lows of cricket, because it is a tough game at times. And I think both Suzie, Sophie and even Leah have all 3 shown us younger ones, I suppose, coming through the international game, how to stay true to yourself and just being able to trust your own ability. And you are here for a reason, and backing yourself and actually enjoying the game. The women's game in particular has grown so much. I think the professionalism, there's a lot more players around the world that are full-time cricketers now, and around the world there's also competitions. You got the WPL, the Big Bash, the 100, and I think tournaments like that is just making the quality of cricket a lot higher, and with that it means that the international game's also growing. And I think just last night we saw Australia chase down 330, which is absolutely crazy, but it just shows that it doesn't really matter what the score that is put out there. Every team is actually capable of chasing down whatever total is put out there. And I think India, for example, they have the pitches that potentially are actually run friendly. So I think it's really exciting, but it just means that it's probably more of a batter's game at time, and bowlers have to figure out ways to, 1, restrict, but also to figure out how to get those wickets. And the way that the game has grown domestically in New Zealand recently has been really good. And again, the cool thing about the 17 contracted White Ferns being full-time, it means that let's say Auckland, for example, we have 5 players that can go back into our Auckland Hearts environment and show the ones that are part-time how to train, I suppose, purposely and in a way that is going to benefit them to be better cricketers. And from there, the flow-on effect again is, the quality of games is going to get better. And the amount of cricket that we're playing in New Zealand at the moment has also increased from into squad games to, we have this north versus south. And, I think the more cricket that we get to play, the better cricket will get played, I suppose. And the quality of players coming through our systems will be better. So, I think, again, the Super Smash, not full time, I suppose, but a good stepping stone in the right direction.